Hi, welcome back to the Weekly Why. This week we have Parshat Vayera. This week we have one of the most really unique correspondences between God and a character in the Bible. We have God and Abraham talking about Sodom, this very wicked town, and Abraham's arguing with God about saving the town. We read as follows in the 18th chapter of the book of Genesis. Abraham says, "Will you indeed sweep away the righteous with the wicked? What if there are 50 righteous people in the city in Sodom? Will you indeed sweep it away and not spare it for the sake of the 50? Far be it for you to do such a thing." In other words, what Abraham's saying is that, yes, there are wicked people in Sodom, and that's most of them, but what if there's 50 righteous people? Are you going to kill them along with the rest? So the first is that this is actually not the only, it may be the first time, but it's not the only time we see, characters, Jewish leaders in the Bible arguing with God. We have Moses arguing with God when the Jewish people are being rebellious in the desert. We have the Jewish people arguing with God after the rebellion of Korah. We have the prophets Jeremiah and Habakkuk arguing with God. So it's a constant theme here. So how do we understand that? Are we to understand that somehow fallible, finite human beings have a greater understanding of truth and morality and absolute meaning than the omniscient, omnipotent creator of the universe? Seems unlikely. So how do we understand this? According to Chief Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, what he says is that basically it's not so much a challenge of Abraham to God as it is God to Abraham. You see, we read in the Parsha that the people of Sodom were wicked. There's no ifs or buts about it. We read, the men of Sodom were wicked and were sinning greatly against the Lord. So why is therefore God, when he asks, shall I hide from Abraham what I'm about to do? In other words, he's opening Abraham up into his, so to speak, private contemplative world of what he's considering here. And yet we know, as we just read, the men of Sodom were wicked and sinning greatly. Okay, so it seems like the verdict is a done deal. Why is therefore God inviting Abraham to challenge him? What does that mean? So according to Rabbi Sachs, what he's basically doing, it's not that Abraham is challenging God, it's that God is challenging Abraham. What does that mean? According to him, what he's saying is that really, when true justice is served, you need to have both sides of the story represented. Even in the most, third world despotic, regimes, when there's kangaroo courts and so on, there's almost even a facade, always a facade of some kind of fairness, the prosecution and the defense. Because really, that we know, in order for there to be at least the base minimum of justice, there needs to be two sides of the story. And so this is what God is saying to Abraham. He's saying that the people of Sodom are wicked. They will be punished, but give them a fair trial. Give them a defense. Give them a court-appointed attorney if you are unable to afford one yourself. That's the idea. And so what's the take-home message for us? The take-home message for us, of course, is that the nature of the Jewish people is to be struggling with God. The term Yisrael, the word Yisrael, means one who struggles with God. This is part of our innate nature. So how do we address that today? It means that our goal is to be representatives of truth and holiness and ethical monotheism in the world. But it means that on an individual level, even on a collective level as a Jewish people, we need to be constantly struggling with ourselves, struggling against inertia, struggling against all of the easy way out, and even in many ways struggling with God. It's not easy, the mitzvot. It's not easy to be the light unto nations, the prophet Isaiah says. And so what the challenge means is that we have to carve out our niche. Every single Jew needs to carve out our niche and find truly what our individual purpose, and really to maximize our purpose as a Jewish people as well. And so God's given us the tools, but sometimes we can push back a little bit and we can try to find ultimately what our individual purpose is. And only by struggle, deep personal struggle, introspection, are we able to ultimately reach that conclusion. So that's it for the Weekly Why this week. Best wishes, Shabbat Shalom. God bless.